Mordaunt 105, Sunak 137, Truss 113. Therefore, Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss will be the candidates going forward to a final ballot of Conservative Party members. The ballot will close on the 2nd of September, and I will announce the results at 12:30 p.m. on Monday, the 5th of September. Thank you very much.
So that was Sir Graham Brady at 4 o'clock 46 minutes ago, delivering the results of the 1922 committee. Let's have a look at those results again, with the numbers against each of those candidates. Rishi Sunak, 137. Liz Truss, 113. And Penny Mordaunt, 105. By the rules of the 1922 committee, that means Penny Mordaunt is out of the race to be the leader of the Conservative Party and, by default, Britain's next Prime Minister. Let's have a look at the odds now, the betting odds on which of those candidates will actually become Britain's next Prime Minister. So here are the odds. Liz Truss 8-15 and Rishi Sunak 5-4. What do you make of that? Let me know your thoughts on the fact that Penny Mordaunt is now out of this contest. Let me know what you think about the fact the Conservative Party, or at least the members of Parliament, have decided that Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss are the two candidates that are going to lead the competition to become the leader of the Conservative Party. Let us know what you think. 0344 499 1000. Text the word TALK in your message to 87222. You can also tweet us at TalkTV and tweet me at Dr. David Bull. And the question I'm asking this afternoon is, do you think the Conservative Party has now shot itself in the foot? Does this mean the Conservative Party will now lose the next general election, whenever that is? Let us know. The number 0344 499 1000. Text the word TALK in your message to 87222 and tweet us at Talk TV. Let's now join Jason Reed, who is a political commentator and head of Young Voices UK. Good afternoon to you, Jason.
Good afternoon, David.
Very good to see you again. Thank you for joining me. So, an historic moment for the Conservative Party and for the future of the United Kingdom. Do you think the Conservative Party has shot itself in the foot?
Well, there's a long time to go until the next election. Of course, a huge amount can change between now and then. But I think what happens over the next few weeks will, of course, be extremely important when it comes to the choice that voters get at the next election. Rishi Sunak, going on the polls that we've had, very provisional, very hypothetical polls over the last few weeks, seems to have a bit of a leg up with the country at large. He seems like he would be the election-winning candidate, but then it seems like Liz Truss has a leg up within the Conservative Party membership. But all of this, of course, at the moment is speculation. It's hard to say what would actually happen. Liz Truss, I think, overall is in a better position because she is in a position where she's able to unite the different wings of the party. We know that she had the endorsement of a lot of Boris Johnson loyalists, people like Nadine Dorries and Jacob Rees-Mogg, and it's likely that she has the support of people who liked Boris Johnson and wished he would have stayed. But at the same time, she's presenting what I think it's fair to say is a radical and different vision for the country, especially on tax policy, which has been the defining debate of this contest so far, whereas Rishi Sunak seems to be presenting quite a pessimistic vision of not being able to cut taxes in the foreseeable future and keeping things more or less the same, which I don't think is going to chime with the Tory membership. And although the polling suggests he has a bit of support in the country at large, I think people will come to realise after he's been in office for a few months, if he does get that far, that he doesn't have the forward-looking pro-growth vision we need, that he's not some kind of steward of experience and economic excellence who can lead us out of these difficult times, but that actually he has this quite pessimistic, centrist mentality that we can't change anything, we must just keep everything the same and grit our teeth and get through it, whereas I don't think people want that. I don't think voters want that. I think voters want to have their taxes cut. They want a radical shake-up agenda, which Liz Truss seems more willing to present at this stage.
So, Jason, obviously we saw the latest figures, inflation now running at 9.4%. Our viewers are saying things like this from Les Stevenson, saying, I'm a party member. I will never vote for Rishi Sunak or any party led by him. Why would anyone want 2 more years of his economy-wrecking, high-tax, low-growth policies? Never Rishi. How do you respond to that?
Well, that's an attitude that we're hearing a lot from a lot of Tory members. This is a good example of the disconnect that we see between Westminster and the wider public, because Rishi Sunak has come first in every single ballot that we've had of Tory MPs, and we've had several of them now. So he's clearly the MP's preferred candidate. He's clearly who they want to see. But at the same time, he does not poll at the top of the list when it comes to party members. And there are a lot of people who, as you say, are not at all buying into his vision, that people don't want to have someone who says, oh, I'm sensible and I make the tough choices. We want someone who's going to make the tough choices to make life easier, to cut taxes, to cut fuel duty, to cut green levies, to make people able to actually pay their bills and to help them get out of this difficult time. They don't want someone who has been in charge of the economy for the last couple of years, who has led us to the point that we're at now and has been very open about how he's not willing to cut taxes for the foreseeable future.
I think you are spot on in many ways, and I think what we're seeing, particularly from our viewers, is they're saying they're very worried about Rishi Sunak saying no immediate tax cuts. They're very worried about this increase in national insurance and corporation tax. There's no commitment to increase defence spending. I think people are very concerned, particularly with Russia's actions in Ukraine, and of course we're now seeing inflation spiralling out of control. Liz Truss at least does offer some sort of optimism by saying, actually, I will reduce tax, I will cut or cancel the national insurance rise, the tax rise, corporation tax, review the tax system, and of course she does commit to defence spending of 3%. However, she is not an accomplished performer. Is that an issue, do you think?
Well, both candidates definitely do have their strengths and weaknesses. When it comes to campaigning, probably Liz Truss's biggest weakness, at least how it's perceived at the moment, is her lack of communication skills, which Rishi Sunak, you could argue, it's his biggest strength. He's had a very slick campaign, but then he's come under criticism about that as well, for having too slick a campaign and coming out with that campaign video very, very quickly after Boris Johnson's resignation, suggesting that he's been planning this for some time. So it's going to be a very interesting contest over the next few weeks. We're dealing, of course, with a very small and very volatile electorate, just 200,000 or so Conservative Party members. And so it's extremely difficult to predict what's going to happen over the next few weeks. I would imagine we're going to see a lot of ups and downs. I think from the Conservative Party's point of view, the main thing they will be hoping for, regardless of who wins, is that there aren't so many blue-on-blue attacks, that you don't have so many attack lines being fed directly to Keir Starmer. It was amazing watching Prime Minister's questions today. A lot of the attacks he landed on the government were literally just lines read out by from what the candidates said in those TV debates. And so Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, whoever wins, will have to lead a party, they will have to lead a government. The general election is not that far off, and they will be hoping that they can keep this fragile coalition within the party together and not have to deal with the fallout of all these bloody attacks that have been going on.
Well, it's really interesting, actually. Obviously, today's leadership ballot was secret, so obviously we don't know how people voted. Clearly, and people are very concerned there was a sort of dark arts operation that was going on behind the scenes. And what Rishi Sunak wanted was to be against Liz Truss. He did not want Penny Mordaunt. He knew that Penny Mordaunt was very popular with the grassroots Conservative members. And, of course, he's got the outcome he wants. But I don't think, when you look at the YouGov poll, I don't know if you've seen that, the 725 members, when you look at Truss versus Sunak, Liz Truss wins 54% versus Rishi Sunak at 35%.
She definitely does seem to be in a stronger position going forward at the moment. She does seem to have the advantage over Rishi Sunak when it comes to members' preferences. But, of course, there'll be a lot asked of them over the next few weeks. I expect there'll be more debates. People will want more detail about their policy platforms. And it's entirely possible that Liz Truss, I'd say it's unlikely, but it's entirely possible that she will slip up and lose out. As for dark arts going on behind the scenes, Westminster is a very messy place. There's an inclination, some people like to believe, that there's kind of 5D chess going on, people game planning and manipulating each other. I think it's probably a lot more like a riot in a prison yard. You sort of don't know who's going to get stabbed next. There's chaos going on all over the place. We saw the ascension of Penny Mordaunt was extremely quick and then collapsed almost immediately when she had some lackluster performances in the TV debates. It's very, very hard to predict, or it has been hard to predict over the last couple of weeks, what's going to happen the next day, let alone what's going to happen a few weeks into the future. Of course, now we're dealing with a larger group of people. It's no longer just a few hundred MPs in Westminster. It's those 200,000 or so Tory members across the country. And so I think we're going to see some shifts in the campaign strategy. We're going to see some changes of tone from both candidates, because they're now aware that they are pitching to their party members, not just their MPs, and they're going to be very conscious of what they're saying now.
Jason, always a pleasure. Jason Reed, political commentator and head of Young Voices UK. Tim